The Admirals run the world and the Yonkos rule over the Grand Line. The Yonko vs Admiral debate is one of the biggest debates in the entire One Piece verse. So today we will be diving into the current 4 Emperors versus the current 4 Admirals, including the Fleet Admiral Sakazuki. So I'm going to be putting them against each other based on their power levels. The first matchup is going to be between Akainu and Blackbeard. The reason is because Akainu has the most powerful Devil Fruit when it comes to attacking power, and Blackbeard has 2 overpowered Devil Fruits, with one having the capability to destroy the entire planet. So starting out by Blackbeard's first Devil Fruit, it's the Yami Yami no Mi, which gives him the ability to create, control, and transform into darkness. It is a Logia type. In pre-time skip he defeated Ace, who was a warlord, and Ace was quite strong for being a pre-time skip character. Ace was stated to be on par with Jinbei and was the Yonko commander for Whitebeard. Moving on to his second Devil Fruit is the Gura Gura no Mi, which in my opinion is the most overpowered Devil Fruit when you combine it with Conqueror's Haki. Whitebeard was able to tilt an entire ocean and go toe to toe with Gold Roger, who was a pirate king. With that Devil Fruit, he also attained the title for being the strongest man in the world, and he was 80 years old with cancer. Not to mention that he had the second highest bounty in the verse next to Roger, which was over 5 billion berries. So far, we know that Blackbeard had the potential to use the Gura Gura no Mi a lot better than Whitebeard since he was sick, as long as he has good Haki. Blackbeard's next feat was defeating Marco and the rest of the Whitebeard pirates, and Marco was high Yonko commander level since he fought both King and Queen together. Then later on, Blackbeard goes on to fight Boa Hancock and wins quite easily. He then encounters Rayleigh and runs away, but even Rayleigh stated that even he couldn't take on current Blackbeard. Mind you, Prime Rayleigh was stated to be on par with Roger, and even Rayleigh as an old man was able to go toe to toe with Kizaru. This feat easily puts him at over Admiral level. Blackbeard's next major feat was beating Law, who had a bounty of around 3 billion berries. Law did most of the work in the fight against Big Mom, and Law has the Opi Opi no Mi, which gives him insane abilities and hacks. Law should definitely be around Zoro and Marco in terms of power. Blackbeard definitely does struggle against Law, but that's the whole thing about Blackbeard. He struggles in almost every single fight and always ends up winning by Dark Vortex. To this day, one of Blackbeard's most impressive feat was landing a scar on Shanks before he had a Devil Fruit. Shanks also started glazing him and even stated that Mihawk couldn't land a prominent scar on Shanks like Blackbeard. This indicates that Blackbeard's been hiding his true power. Blackbeard's last feat was fighting Sengoku. We didn't see a lot of this fight, but Sengoku was covered in bandages after Marineford. These feats easily scale him over high Yonko level. Now speaking of my king Akainu, Akainu has the Magu Magu no Mi, which gives him the ability to create, control, and transform into magma. As I said before, Oda stated that his Devil Fruit has the highest attacking power out of all the Devil Fruits in the verse. So far, as of right now, Akainu's biggest feat was fighting Whitebeard. Akainu was definitely stronger in that fight since he took half of Whitebeard's face, and then he goes on to stop Whitebeard's attack multiple times and then punches a hole through him. It's a lot better compared to Whitebeard only knocking down Akainu. As for Haki, Akainu has 2 types of Haki, including Ornament and Observation, although he's not a confirmed user of Conquerors. But there is a very high possibility he does have Conqueror since he has a very strong will to take out every pirate. Not to mention that you need a strong will or a Conqueror mindset to have Conqueror's Haki. His next feat was also very impressive as he took out Aokiji, who was a Navy Admiral. It did take him 10 days despite having an elemental advantage, but he did take out Kuzan's leg and spared his life, meaning he was in control the entire fight. This is one of the most impressive feats considering it's been the longest fight in the entire verse and the Admirals have insane stamina. Blackbeard was also a bit scared to take out Kuzan despite being stronger, and Akainu completely dog-walked him. As for a matchup between Akainu and Blackbeard, I still give the edge to Akainu since he has way better feats against harder opponents. Akainu also has a way higher bounty rivaling the Pirate King, which is an indication from Oda that Akainu has gotten way stronger than before. It's still going to be a very high diff fight since Blackbeard will be able to knock down Akainu with the Gura Gura no Mi and use a Yami Yami no Mi to hold his own against Akainu's magma based attacks. Akainu definitely has a way better battle IQ, and I think he's going to overpower and outlast Blackbeard at the end. This fight could go either way, but I give it 60-40 Akainu. Now moving on to the second matchup is going to be between Shanks and Kizaru. Kizaru is so far one of the fastest characters in the entire verse since his base speed is moving and attacking at the speed of light. We've also seen him accelerate faster than light while fighting Luffy. Kizaru's Devil Fruit is called the Pika Pika no Mi, which gives him the ability to move and attack at the speed of light. It is a Logia type, meaning he cannot be hit without Haki, which isn't a problem for Shanks considering he has the best Haki aside from Joy Boy. As of right now, some of Kizaru's biggest feat was overpowering Marco and speed blitzing the entire Supernova and Sabaody. Kizaru also fought evenly against Luffy in the Egghead arc. In my opinion, they are equal, or Kizaru may have been slightly stronger considering Kizaru got food for Luffy after the fight. Also, Kizaru was not going all out in that fight since he had a mental nerf. Even if he assumed that Luffy and Kizaru are equal, we know that Shanks is definitely stronger than both of them. So far, Shanks' mastery over all 3 types of Haki, with his Conquerors being the most powerful aside from Joy Boy. The reason why this matters is because Kizaru does not have Conquerors, but he does have Observation and Ornament. Shanks is also considered to have an insane observation haki since he can see a long time into the future while fighting Useless Kid. Red hair Shanks also beat Loki, who's a prince of Elbaf, and Loki should scale around low admiral level at the very least. There is a good possibility that Shanks jumped Loki with his entire crew since Loki called him a coward. Aside from that, we can confirm that Shanks was the one who stopped Kaido from coming to Marineford. This likely indicates that Shanks is stronger than Kaido since Kaido is not the one to back off. Kaido also put Shanks with Roger, Whitebeard, Odin, and Rocks. This panel also shows that these are the only ones who can beat Kaido. Not just go toe to toe with him, since even Big Mom was able to go toe to toe with Kaido for days. Shanks was also not afraid to clash with old Whitebeard. This feat indicates that they should have been around equals, if not stronger. His last and the biggest feat was going on par with Mihawk, who is the strongest swordsman in the world, so Shanks should be stronger than Green Bull, Fujitora, and Ashura, or anyone who wields a sword. I forgot to mention something else, he also overpowered Green Bull with his Conqueror's Haki. This matchup is not as close as the first one. Shanks should be around Kizaru in terms of speed, or maybe Kizaru is a bit faster, but Shanks has superior observation haki which can make up for the speed difference. Either way, it's still going to be a high diff fight for Shanks, but not an extreme diff fight like Akainu versus Blackbeard. Not to mention that getting hit by one Kamusari might be enough for Kizaru. So yeah, 7.5 to 8 out of 10 times I got Shanks winning. Now let's move on to the next matchup, which is going to be between Luffy and Fujitora. This fight is going to be almost completely one-sided as Luffy has fought and defeated Kaido. He also went on par with Kizaru, who's stronger and faster than Fujitora. The reason is because Luffy has all 3 types of haki, including Ornament, Observation, and Conquerors, with his Conquerors being capable to clash with Kaido, the strongest creature in One Piece. I'm sure that Fujitora is not getting one-shotted since he can use gravity to mess up with a terrain or push Luffy to the ground, but Luffy has Conqueror's haki with insane physical strength to counter it. I can imagine Luffy grabbing Fujitora like he did to Saturn and Kizaru, and when Fujitora tries dropping a meteor, Luffy's just gonna swallow it like he did to Kizaru's beam. Fujitora definitely has a very good observation haki since he can locate meteors, so it's gonna be more towards a mid-diff fight for Luffy. So far, Fujitora hasn't really fought anyone. He did beat Karasu and Jack where Yonko commander levels at max. So yeah, Luffy wins it. So right now we got 2 wins for the Yonko and 1 win for the Admirals. Now let's move on to the last matchup, which is gonna be between Buggy and Green Bull. Jokes aside, we know who's winning, so I'm gonna be taking Mihawk instead of Buggy. As you can see in this panel, Green Bull has a sword. It's been stated 100 times that Mihawk is considered to be the strongest swordsman in the entire verse. So yeah, Mihawk transcends everyone in the verse with a sword. To summarize it, Green Bull has a Mori Mori no Mi, which gives him the ability to create, control, and turn into a forest. He can also drain nutrients like he did to King and Queen. That feat easily puts him at around high Yonko commander level. But a couple chapters later, he gets one-shotted by Shanks' Bluetooth Conqueror's haki, and we know that Mihawk and Shanks are on par with each other. So yeah, this fight is going to be a very low diff fight for Mihawk. Right now, the Yonkos are definitely stronger unless you replace Mihawk with Buggy. But technically, the Admirals are supposed to go against Buggy instead of Mihawk. So if the Yonkos and the Admiral were to be in an all-out brawl, it would leave Luffy, Shanks, Green Bull, and Akainu remaining. Akainu will be in a worse condition compared to Shanks, so Shanks would probably take him out. And then we got Green Bull versus Luffy. This fight, I'm going to give it to Green Bull considering Green Bull will have a lot more stamina left. And at last, we got Shanks in the worst condition versus Green Bull in a mid condition. Considering the condition Shanks is going to be in after fighting Akainu and Kizaru, I'm going to give it to Green Bull. Green Bull is certainly not that big of a fraud considering he scales around Fujitora. And you could argue that he did not run away from Shanks but rather his entire crew.